With this minor scale guitar lesson video, we'll take the next step in being able to solo and improvise by showing you how to play the minor scale in any key. We'll also show you how to play the minor scale along with backing rhythm tracks in different keys as well. Along with guitar tabs and box pattern diagrams, we'll cover it all with this step-by-step approach. Musicians need to rely on a system of notes and letters to communicate musical ideas. And the basics of the system, which is basic music theory, it's a must-learn when it comes to learning how to solo. For example, if Carlos Santana were to join Eric Clapton for an improvised jam session, you're not going to hear terms or Eric Clapton say, "Hey Carlos, I've got this really cool riff. It starts off with my finger here, and then I put my finger here for the next note." They're not going to communicate like that. Instead, they're going to use terms such as, "Hey, let's do a flamenco jam in A minor," or "Let's play some blues in B flat." And that's what we're going to do at this lesson. We're going to explain not only how to play flamenco in A minor, but we're going to show you how to play the minor scale in any key. And we're also going to work on playing the minor scale along with different rhythm tracks in different keys as well. Now, before continuing on, it's a good idea to make sure you have some minor scale basics already down, and that includes knowing the chromatic scale. In other words, having the ability to find and identify letter notes on the fretboard. And the second is to know the minor scale box pattern, also known as the natural minor scale box pattern. We've covered both of these topics in previous videos, so if you are totally unfamiliar with either one, we'll have some links in the video description to those videos. If you have a rough idea, what we're going to do is do a quick review of each topic in the next two clips. Having the ability to identify all the letter notes on the fretboard, to me that is literally the first step in being able to apply music theory to learning how to solo on guitar. And a lot of beginners, they already know the names of the open strings, E, B, G, D, A, E. The next step with that is to be able to count up each string and identify letter notes by using the chromatic scale. And the primary focus of this lesson will just be on the bottom sixth string, identifying the notes there. So let's do a quick review of all the letter notes, the chromatic notes on the bottom string, using the chromatic scale. It is E, that first pitch, and for the chromatic scale you count up alphabetically and add a sharp to every note except for B and E. So, counting up the bottom string, we have E. E doesn't get a sharp. F, F sharp, G, G sharp. End of the chromatic scale, you go back to the beginning of the alphabet. A, A sharp. B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E. At the 12th fret, everything repeats because there's 12 notes in the chromatic scale. So if you end up on the double dots with the first note you started with, which was E open, E at the 12th fret, you know you did it right. And with that, technically we can name all the notes on the bottom string. But there is an extra catch, and that involves enharmonic notes, the flat notes. You can give two names to the same note. Enharmonic notes are the sharps and flats. An example would be, say we have E, F, F sharp here on the second fret. Well, the enharmonic name for F sharp is G flat. And so it's not important right now to know when to call it sharp or flat. The main thing is to know that you can give two different names for that note because different musicians communicate in different ways. Going up to G sharp, the enharmonic name or the synonym for that note would be A flat. And then from A and then A sharp, you could also call B flat. So that covers step one with the guitar basics, knowing how to use the chromatic scale, how to apply it to the bottom string. Natural minor scale can be described as having a sad, serious, even a Spanish flamenco-like mood or tone. And it's used in a wide variety of musical styles, ranging from flamenco to rock to jazz. A more academic term for the natural minor scale is the Aeolian scale. The A is silent, and most musicians, though, refer to it as simply the minor scale. And the first step with learning the minor scale is to play a box pattern of the minor scale across the 5th fret. And we're going to review that right now. And we're also going to review how to read or apply tab to this lesson. If you see the example on the screen, the 6 lines represent the 6 strings. The 6th bottom string is the bottom line, and the 1st string is the top line. Numbers on the lines represent the frets being played. So we're going to place our first finger on the bottom string 5th fret. And on my tabs I include the finger numbers to fret with. So we have a 1 just below that 5. So if we sync up, if we're doing the same thing, that's a good start. And now let's review the minor scale box pattern. Now another perspective to playing this box pattern is to view it from a box pattern diagram. And the example showing on the screen now shows the minor scale in a box pattern form. A box pattern is essentially an aerial view of a scale going across the 6 strings. The 6th bottom string is on the far left, the 1st top string is on the far right. The finger numbers to fret with are shown in the circles. And all the notes we just played will fit within this box pattern. The one drawback is that the pattern doesn't tell you the exact running order of the notes to play. But regardless of what style or what scale you're playing, most guitarists are visualizing box patterns when they're soloing. And there are several box patterns that you can use to play the minor scale. However, this box pattern we're going to refer to as the standard box pattern. And so let's play it again. Same thing, but this time from a box pattern diagram perspective. And here's how it should sound. So with that, if we can sync everything up with the box pattern diagrams, the tab, and if you can play the box pattern at about that same speed, you're ready for the next step. Now we're going to determine the letter name of the minor scale played along the 5th fret. And that's just a matter of going back to the chromatic scale, because all you have to do is know what the name of that first note is, the letter name. And that's going to determine what the name of this box pattern is. So quick review of that. The bottom string is E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A. So this box pattern along the 5th fret is the A minor scale. Or sometimes when you're soloing, musicians may say, hey, play something in the key of A minor or in A minor. It's also the minor scale in A, but probably the best description I would use is the A minor scale, and that's the box pattern along the 5th fret. The minor scale box pattern is movable, meaning you can shift the same pattern up or down along the fretboard. And all you have to do to know what key you're playing in, or the letter name of the key you're playing in, is the letter name of that first note we played. So for example, if we were to move up 2 frets from A, A sharp, B, same pattern, same mood, but a different key. And that would be the minor scale in B, or a more accurate description, the B minor scale. If we went back to A again on that 5th fret, say we moved up 1 fret, well, you could call that A sharp minor. But again, using enharmonic terms, another musician could refer to it as B flat minor. So one musician may say A sharp minor, another may say B flat minor. They're both asking for the same thing. So it's key to know those enharmonic notes. Maybe another review of that, going back to A on the 5th fret, if we were to move down, that would be A flat minor, also known as G sharp minor. Going through the trouble of memorizing all the notes on the bottom string at this point is not as important as having a method of simply being able to identify the notes on the bottom string. The good news with this method that we just did is that now you can play the minor scale in any letter key. because remember, all the notes repeat every 12 frets. So any potential key to play the minor scale will be located between the 0 and the 12 frets on the guitar. At this point, just simply start with E every time and count up until you find the key that you're looking for. Now, there are some shortcuts. In fact, if you did have to decide one particular note or spot on the guitar to memorize, I would say let's make it the A minor scale. The first time we played the pattern equals the first letter in the alphabet. So if you memorize that A is on the 5th fret, that might save you a little time from certain keys, such as B minor, for example. If you know A is on the 5th fret, A sharp, B, a little less counting that you would have to do. So A is always on the 5th fret, but as a safe bet, always start with E, and you just count up the chromatic scale and you'll find your key. Now, understanding the concept of playing in keys is one thing. The next step is to be able to communicate these musical terms with other musicians. So if we go back to the earlier situation with Carlos Santana and Eric Clapton, let's say they invited someone on stage to jam along with them, someone who knew how to play guitar, and you raised your hand and you went up on stage with them, and they said, "You know how to play?" And you say, "Sure." And they said, "Fine, we'll back you up. Play something in G minor." Well, the first step is to know what they're talking about. The second step is to be able to play the G minor scale. And then the third step will be playing with rhythm. So step one, where is the G minor scale? And if you want, you can pause the video. We'll show you how to do it in the next clip. But step one, see if you can determine where the G minor scale is on the guitar. The G minor scale is played along the 3rd fret position, and how we determined that was by counting up the bottom string, E, F, F sharp, G. And before we do this jam session with playing along with the backing rhythm track in the next clip, I want to give you some tips on how to go about playing along with the backing rhythm. First and foremost, you want to prioritize playing correct notes. So you might be eager to show off. Most people are when we introduce this to them. But the idea is you want to hear how these notes harmonize with the backing rhythm. And the only way to do that is by playing correct notes. If you play too fast and make mistakes and constantly have to stop and start over, it just takes you longer to kind of hear how the harmonization works with the scale and the backing rhythm. So focus on playing correct notes, and then focus on getting clear notes with decent volume. The last thing you worry about is speed. In fact, there's a saying in music, slow is fast. If you're able to play the box pattern correct, you're simply going to get it quicker. It's going to click in on how the notes harmonize. Again, making too many mistakes is usually a result of playing too fast. And so that's step one. In fact, to make sure you play slow, where there's going to be I'm going to be soloing along with this rhythm track. So there's going to be a guide solo to follow. So don't play ahead of it or behind it, play right with it, and that'll be a great first step. Finally, two more things actually. You're going to have enough time to play the box pattern twice with this backing rhythm. So after you get to the end, keep your cool, stay along that 3rd fret position, and then repeat. And then finally, we are going to let this note sustain, that last note, each time we play it. And as an extra bonus, and then when it comes time for that final strum, you can play that note again, and that produces what is called a harmonized ending. It's a good way to sort of put a good finish to a jam session, is landing that note with the final strum chord. And with that, let's give it a shot. Let's start playing along now with the backing rhythm in the next clip. Now you may have noticed when we played that G minor scale, it was a bit more of a stretch required to hit those notes compared to A, because the frets get wider as we go lower down the fretboard. And actually it's a good idea early on to practice this box pattern in different keys. And if you go to lower frets, you simply give yourself a better workout for the fingers because you have to stretch more. And the ultimate is going down to the first fret position, the dreaded key of F here. And here's an example of playing the F minor box pattern. So that'll be a good workout for the fingers, but it's also good to move higher up the fretboard. The reason being is as the frets get closer together, you need to concentrate more to get clarity from each note played. And so what we're going to do in the next clip is we're going to play along in the key of D flat. Now the key of D flat, let's use A as a shortcut. A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D. Most beginners get to the natural note, D, and then they go, oh yeah, D flat, lower it. D flat, C sharp, same note. We're on the 9th fret. And we'll do the same running order that we did with the backing track in G. We'll play the box pattern twice, and here's how it'll sound in D flat. And again, we'll have enough time to play it twice. And also in this next rhythm backing track, there will be a guide solo that I'll be playing. So again, try to keep even tempo by playing along with that guide solo. If you made it this far into the lesson, you've probably got a pretty good foundation in playing the box pattern. In fact, you might be a little eager to play additional riffs or even play the box pattern faster. But a great way to close out this lesson is with the next backing rhythm track because there will be no guide solo played. It'll just be you playing along with a backing track in B minor. Not to be confused with B flat minor. B minor is the minor scale in B. In this case, A sharp, B will be along that 7th fret. In this backing rhythm in B minor, I'm extending it a little bit longer than the previous backing rhythm tracks, and that'll give you plenty of time to play the box pattern as many times as you want. Again, the objective is correct notes with clarity, but by all means, if you want, increase the speed a little bit and hear how you sound playing on your own with the backing rhythm track. Once you have this lesson down, you're ready to move up to the next lesson or level with minor scale soloing basics. With that next lesson, we're going to show you how to learn to play and copy some classic minor scale riffs.